What is up, people? Welcome back or to another video. For those of you who are both old and new around here, a very warm welcome back. I'm super grateful to have you come and join us. As you can see from the title, we have a coffee. Look at this mug. Grab yourself a drink of your choice because we're going to get talking about some myths and common misconceptions people have and some assumptions. Maybe we can have a little bit of a laugh about it. And of course, if you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comment section down below. I do actually prefer it if people just ask. If they're genuinely curious about something, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fair enough. But go make an assumption or, go and be like, oh my God, she's such a bitch, which is what most people do. I'd rather not go down that route. And I know for a fact that a lot of you, from a lot of the comments and support I've been getting lately, that you're not most people. I'm gonna get probably the most awkward one out of the way first, because the other ones are just a little bit like, oh, I thought you were a bitch and actually you're quite nice. But I got this on a live stream maybe a year or so ago. I was actually on a YouTube live stream. And then when I started posting on TikTok, obviously, because I was new to that platform, there were a whole load of other people who didn't like the child-free cat lady voice. And they tried this one. And it was initially meant to be a kind of, I think it was meant to hurt my feelings, but it didn't hurt my feelings. And that was, are you trans? It doesn't hurt my feelings because I don't have a problem with trans people. So why would it hurt my feelings? But to clear that up, somebody left a comment and they were like, oh, don't worry, I support the trans community. And it was on a video that had absolutely nothing to do with that subject. So I was kind of like, where has this come from? Like, what provoked you to say such a thing? And I knew what she was getting at. I was in fact born female with all the female anatomy. And I do in fact have periods. So yeah, that settles that argument. Because some people were like, when did you transition? You've got a man jaw, you look really masculine and stuff like this. So just to clear that up, I am a female. I do have a female anatomy. Unfortunately, I do have a uterus. Sorry. So another thing I get asked really often, I think this is more so with my accent. It's not really often, but some people think I'm posh. I'm gonna really assure you right now, I am not from a posh upbringing. I have immigrant parents who fled war to come to the UK. And yeah, it sounds like a sob story, but people sometimes hear my accent and they're like, well, you've obviously come from money and you're just lucky and yada yada, and you could not be further from the truth. I mean, I wish I was from a rich family. That would have been a nice little cushy start to life. But no, I'm not. And another really common misconception, this is probably more of an assumption that people do when they're in person with me, not so much online, but definitely when I'm in person with people. I've had this before with specifically work colleagues, is that people assume because I'm a really sociable person and I love getting to know people and I'm really talkative and I'm quite animated, like I use my hands a lot, they think that I'm ditzy. And they think that, oh, you know what? She's not really switched on. She's away with the fairies. She's a little hippie. She's a social butterfly, whatever they want to call me. It's more the assumption that I'm stupid or that I'm like not awake or not switched on. And that used to really piss me off. Now, I'm not saying I'm the most intelligent person in the whole wide world, because I am definitely not. I am not intelligent in the academic way. I can't sit and study from books. I do love books in the terms of reading, but I can't study from textbooks. That's not how my brain interprets information. I'm a kinesthetic learner, and if you are also a kinesthetic learner, you will know that the British education system does not work for you at all. And because of that, in school, a lot of the time I was made to feel really stupid by teachers, and they did not hold back. Maybe things have changed now in the education system, but they did not hold back. So I grew up a lot of my life being really insecure about being the thickest person in the room. And I spent far too many, an embarrassing amount of years trying to prove myself in so many jobs and trying to be like the most intelligent person. And this comfortably brings me on to my next topic of not having a university degree. So people automatically think that you're stupid, that you're a school dropout. And you know what? If they want to assume that, they can. I absolutely have made peace with it now. And I spent the whole decade of my 20s trying to prove myself in every single job that I was hardworking, that I was intelligent, that I understood tasks. And it burnt me out completely. But that's because I was in this mindset of like, I need to prove myself. I need to prove myself. I need to get validation from like my employers and my colleagues, because once they find out I don't have a degree, they're going to think that I'm so stupid and they're going to try and pull the wool over my eyes. Now, some people do still try and do that, but honestly, at this stage of my life, with my level of caring, it's more entertainment for me than anything else. So I want to stress this, and I wanted to bring this into this video because if you are of the younger generation and you're maybe either just starting out or you're torn with what you want to do, like when you're older, just know that none of us really know what the fuck we're doing, okay? I'm a millennial, and other millennials can feel free to let us know down below. We still don't know what we're fucking doing. Like, we're like so sick of everything. We have tried everything. We've done everything the boomers told us to do. And we are still at the point of our lives where we don't really know what we're doing. I've spoken to so many people, late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s. Like, I'm starting over. I'm starting over because I ended up in a career that my parents thought was good for me, or that, you know, I thought was good for me. And now I absolutely fucking hate it. And I've been there too. I came across a saying once on Facebook when I was just scrolling, and it said, information is not gate kept. You just don't like the source it's coming from. Now, if you think about information and looking for certain things online, let's say you're looking for weight loss advice, you can find it absolutely anywhere. Now we have AI. There is no kind of gate-kept information out there. It's safe to say there's almost too much information, right? Yet I would explain something to somebody in the exact same way that a male would, but it coming out of my mouth sounded more wrong, so people wouldn't believe me saying it. Because they would take one look at me, and because I don't have, this is what I believe anyway, I might be wrong, because I don't look the stereotypical influencer way, they would be like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Who the fuck is this? So again, it would come back to that. The information I'm giving you is not gate kept. I'm not keeping secrets from you. People always thought I'm keeping secrets. Oh, what's your secret? There's no fucking secret. It's all over the internet. Information is not gate kept. You just don't like the source it's coming from. Cognitive dissonance. Again, someone on my religious video said that, actually a few people said this, like, I need to lighten up and I need to get a humor. So if you've been around on this channel for a lot longer than the last couple of months, or maybe this year, you'll know that I'm actually quite funny. I think I'm quite funny. I make a lot of people laugh, not because I say so, but because they've told me that I'm hilarious. I know that for a fact. Also, I think a lot of people, they might be book smart, but they probably can't read a room. And I'm saying that because me doing a video on religious trauma, I'm not going to be giggling through it. I'm not going to be busting jokes about it, because actually a lot of that experience wasn't fucking funny. It wasn't funny, and it left me scarred for a lot, like many, many years afterwards. I'm not going to bring humor into that. There's a time and a place for humor, and I use it very, very well, but I also know the difference between when and where to use it. And I also know how to read a room very well. Not only that, my instincts are seldom wrong, and I can suss somebody out in about 2.5 seconds. You may have already figured out from some of my other videos, I can speak quite directly, and I've always spoken quite directly. So a lot of people misunderstand that for being aggressive, for being too direct, for being angry, for being a bitch. I've heard it all before. And I know perfectly well that if I was a man talking like this, nobody would say a thing, but because I'm a woman, suddenly it makes me a bitch. Anyway, that's just my communication style. I talk directly. I like getting to the point. One of the things that enrages me is other people who just can't get to the point. They have to like set this scene and they take so long to say what they actually mean. It enrages me. And this person commented on my pretty privilege video that someone who looks like me can't possibly experience pretty privilege. But she didn't just say it like that. She wrote the longest fucking paragraph. I was literally like, if you just needed to say that, why didn't you just say that instead of going all around the houses just to say one sentence? So all she wanted to say is that someone who looks like me does not experience pretty privilege. She went to me, you must have had a really nice body because what you experienced was not pretty privilege. Everyone thinks they know what they're talking about these days and you're one of them. Why didn't you just say that? Just get to the point. I don't know, maybe because in my birth chart, my Mercury is in Aries, and apparently that means that I'm a very direct communicator, and unfortunately, a lot of people misunderstand that. Of course, maybe you might have an assumption or a misconception. Share the ones that you've experienced as well. And if you've come this far, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a massive thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.